What's up, everybody? This is Francisco, joined by my good buddies Andrew and Charles, and we're here in 2022. Welcome. Welcome. Sports Goose number 125. This is our, gosh, man, we're going to year 4 soon enough of this show. So it's been going on a while, but yeah, welcome back. And we've got, man, a whole month's worth of stuff that we were worth of talking about, and it was a long break, but it was a necessary break for us. And look at that, stuff accumulated, and when we're back, and we can talk about things. So, how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing over there? How are you doing, Andrew? What's up?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah, we'll talk to Andrew. He was back at the Orange Bowl this year. So, or technically last year, but yeah. And Charles, you're back there. What are you doing?
I am currently a frog.
Oh, okay. Well, what are you playing?
I popped
Mario
in
Odyssey?
Oldie because I popped in
okay.
Mario
Okay,
Odyssey
there you
because
go.
I was like, I'm gonna watch the NXT live stuff in a bit,
Mm.
while we're on the show. So I'm like, well, if we're gonna do that, how about we just put in something quick? Because I was gonna start Bayonetta, but I said no. If it's only gonna be about 45 minutes, I don't want to start any game I haven't played and just catch it on that small a time frame. So I'm like, you know what? I had to play a certain Mario game that left a bad taste in my mouth on the break. So I was like, let's do some real ish. And
Yeah.
we popped in that Odyssey, and I'm just floating around the moon as a frog, trying to collect some moonstones so I can get into the dark side of the moon
Okay.
segment.
Well, guys, this is Sports Goose, and we sell out. We sell out hard. Okay. You know, we're sponsored, of course, by many things. Hey, we got Prawnies Hockey World, of course, and guess what? You can get the best and biggest selection, lowest prices for all of their new products. Their new products are 2022 products. You can get the great prices for the 2021 stuff that's about to become old and decrepit. Well, of course, it's not old and decrepit. It's still quality stuff. You can buy it out there. Go to our website, click on the banner, and you'll help us out. And you know what? Sports Goose is now proudly sponsored by Mr. Tortilla, the number one best-selling tortilla on Amazon, guys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they're made out of a need for a healthy and affordable tortilla for the people without sacrificing the flavor. And their big breakthrough came when they were able to develop a 1-carb, 15-calorie tortilla. So now you can enjoy tacos without the guilt. So go to our website there too. Click on the big link for Mr. Tortilla and get yourself, a big old stack of them and eat guilt-free. Guilt-free tacos, guys. Okay? We're shilling tacos now.
This feels right. Of all the things we could sell out for, I'm just proud of us.
Yeah. So so we've finally made it once more, guys. Okay, we've hit another milestone. We're shilling tacos and it all makes sense. So there's a lot of stuff that went down, guys. NFL, we got college, we got hockey going, we got the NBA, right? It's hard to know where to start, so I'm gonna start us off. Okay, we have to pay some respects to some people, and I want to get a segment out of the way now, so we can, just kind of find a way to go into this, and let's haul y'all. A big one went down, guys. Another big one went down. We're doing John Madden. John Madden. Okay. So John Earl Madden, he finally passed away. So he made it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame back in 2006. He was a head coach, of course. Back in his playing days, he played at Cal Polytechnic State University. Okay, they're the Mustangs. If you didn't know, Andrew. Okay.
I think I did know that one, but
Holy crap.
but carry on.
Yeah. So he was drafted back in 1958 in the 21st round of the NFL draft. 244th overall by the Philadelphia Eagles. However, he didn't play a single NFL game. He unfortunately got injured in training camp, and his playing career ended before it even started, unfortunately for him. Went out there, got a teaching degree, became a teacher, and then kind of one day was like looking at the coach's room, and he was while he was injured, he was like looking at the coach's room and looking at they were looking at video back in the day, and he was learning, and he decided to apply that teaching into coaching. Moved up the ranks, went through some college sports there. I think he was at San Diego State at one point, and then he became a coach, an assistant coach with the Oakland Raiders. Then became the head coach of the Raiders in 1969. Very nice. And yeah, Raiders coach from 1969 through 1978. That was his on and only stop in his NFL coaching career. But he never had a losing record. He only missed the playoffs twice in that time frame. Won Super Bowl 11 against the Minnesota Vikings. Then he became a broadcaster from 1979 until 2008. Broadcasted for all 4 major networks. Of course, his primary partner was Pat Summerall, the dynamic duo. Okay. And he won 12 Emmy Awards as a result of that. In 1979, he famously became extremely fearful of flying. He attributes that to a bout of claustrophobia. And so, as he was moving up his broadcasting career, Greyhound supplied him with his own bus called the Madden Cruiser. And that's how he got around the entire country to each and every game that he broadcasted. Of course, he was the famous proponent of the turducken, which is the unholy abomination of a turkey, a duck, and a chicken all in one. But it was a thing. Of course, we had the nuclear turkey as well with the 8 drumsticks sticking out of it, and started the tradition of an NFL team winning on Thanksgiving getting awarded a turkey. So there you go. And of course, he's the namesake of the Madden franchise.
The really shitty now.
Well, that's not his fault.
That's subjective.
That's not his fault.
When's the last time he played a Madden game? You're not going to disrespect that man's legacy here.
No, I'm not disrespecting his legacy. EA Sports is disrespecting his legacy.
I don't know if you're making even if you say it's bad, the fact that people are still buying it actually is like a win for the legacy. EA as a company is one thing, but something's doing good. Be proud on John Madden for not being in a position where Tiger Woods went from having Tiger Woods golf to one too many situations, to which they took him off and put, I think, Rory, whatever his name is, on there. But yeah. Somewhere there's some 15-year-olds who are like, oh no, does that mean they're not going to make any more Madden video games? Because he died.
His I guess his biggest thing was being a teacher of the game. He always used that aspect of himself to try and open up the game to more people. That's why he always saw coaching, broadcasting, and even the video game as a means to help us common folk understand the game of football on a more sophisticated level. That's why he was so prolific as a broadcaster. That's why a ton of people are mourning his passing in the NFL. And of course, the rise of the NFL as far as football, as far as in this country, you can attribute that to him as well, because he kind of got all of the aspects there with spreading it across different forms of media. So John Madden, a big one, guys. There you go. All right, so we're opening up there, okay, guys. But let's have a little fun as well. And this is not going to be all about sadness. Let's talk about Gottlieb's Goons. And I gotta get. Are we
doing superlative editions?
What, like the of the year awards? Are we doing that?
Yeah. We did not structure this whatsoever for anybody listening.
I've semi-planned it out. I've semi-planned some stuff out. But of course, we cannot forget. Gottlieb's Goons, and we're going to give this one, of course, to Rob Manfred. So, guys, if you haven't heard, Ken Rosenthal, all right, baseball man, baseball reporter, one of the good ones, one of the more prominent ones out there. Wears that bow tie famously. Well, you know, he works for MLB Network, and then Rob Manfred was getting his you know, getting all pissed off at him because Rosenthal was just kind of like, hey man, you kind of screwed up this whole collective bargaining between Major League Baseball and the Players Union back in 2020 when you guys tried to screw them over the shutdown and the pandemic and all that stuff, and so you guys brought a lot of ill will to the negotiations this year, which haven't really even started, and we don't know when there will be baseball coming in the future. So of course Manfred had to find a way to get him fired. Of course, MLB Network is owned by Major League Baseball, so they kind of just do what they want. It is state-run television. The baseball version. It is state-run television, the baseball version. And of course, we extended an offer to Ken Rosenthal to join us, and he hasn't answered back. But
look, there's a lot of applicants here, and then two, there's just a lot of people who are going to want this man. But Ken, straight up, I can pay you $300, and maybe I'll buy you like tacos. You get to have whatever platform you want to talk smack.
Seriously,
it's not even talk about smack. Just providing
over.
You don't have to be afraid.
Yeah, really. just take over. Just completely take over. Okay, you can buy us out.
You don't have to be worried about the implication.
You can buy us out. You can acquire the IP. You can acquire the trademarks. Take the squid if you want. Just pay us out.
He could comment on whether empanadas or Hot Pockets, for all I care.
So
Ken, I'll give you. I'll cash app you, Venmo you. It's for real, bro.
Andrew, as I'm assuming Ken Rosenthal has a journalism degree. As a fellow journalist, how do you feel about this?
Well, I mean, even if he doesn't have a journalism degree, he is still a journalist, and a damn good one at that. I commend him for sticking to his guns. I mean, I know lesser journalists. I don't want to dive too deep here, but I can name a couple off the top of my head. But lesser journalists would
Bob Nightingale
would toe the party line. It's one thing to work for, The Athletic or ESPN. And I think Rosenthal, if I remember correctly, he does work for The Athletic. But regardless, I'm sure it is extremely tempting to want to toe that party line. But he said the truth. He said said a truth that is extremely inconvenient to Rob Manfred, because he's trying to push a dialogue, an alternate view of the facts here, that somehow the MLBPA is the bad guy here. They did the same thing last year when the COVID negotiations were going on. They're doing the same thing now. Rosenthal said the truth. Manfred has fucked this up. I saw a tweet earlier. Someone said, "What is the worst contract in MLB?" And someone said, Rob Manfred, $11 million a year. It's very true. You didn't have this. Let me take that back. I was about to say you didn't see this happening under Bud Selig, but then I remember that he was at the helm during the last one. Or if he was not the commissioner, he was way up there. seriously, lawyers need to not be commissioner anymore. They're really screwing up sports. But I digress. And I'm saying that as an almost lawyer, and I'm saying that to lawyers. But
I will run the NFL to the ground. Don't worry.
But first off, shame on Manfred for having such a ego trip, such a narcissistic move to fire somebody because they dare criticize him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's entirely within his right to do it.
You know, tyranny, basically. The man's a tyrant.
I mean, it's one thing to, and you know, honestly, for the longest time, I because they were doing such a good job, I actually just forgot that MLB owned the MLB Network. I mean, yes, I know it's in the name, but they have good programming. They have good
analysis,
personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought of them as like another ESPN just dedicated to baseball. The NFL Network is owned by NFL, but I'm getting off track. But my ultimate point being that, you know, Rob Manfred is such a dick for doing that. if he can't, the man is a public figure. He is the commissioner of baseball. If he doesn't have the guts, the cojones, if he doesn't have the
ganas, desire,
there's a lot of words I could use. If he doesn't have the intestinal fortitude,
there we go, to
take, admittedly, really tiny bit of criticism here. Yeah. It's not like he's saying he's a murderer or something like that. He's just saying, Rob, you've screwed up these negotiations. And even if Rob Manfred disagrees, which I'm sure he does, it's still a reasonable observation of the situation. It's not totally off base, even if you're someone who disagrees with it. It's not like he's saying Rob Manfred is trying to get all the players to play for free. No, that would be ridiculous. But you're firing him over that? I mean, it's have you guys heard of the Streisand effect?
Does it involve Barbara?
In a sense, yes.
So
the story goes that there was an embarrassing photo of Barbara Streisand out on the internet, and she wanted it taken down. But the problem is, by calling attention to it, she just made the problem worse. And now everyone saw it. If she had just left well enough alone, it would have just stayed under the radar.
The modern day version has the Beyonce Super Bowl meme.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So Manfred, in a sense, did just that. If Rosenthal hadn't been fired, I wouldn't have heard what the criticism was. I didn't know that Rosenthal said it. I don't keep tabs on all of my favorite journalists on a day-to-day basis. I don't have MLB Network, and even if I did, I wouldn't watch it religiously. But then all of a sudden, you're firing this guy, and now it's news everywhere. And it's not good news for Manfred, because at the very best, it just makes him look sensitive and soft. And at the worst, it's saying, I own this network. There is no journalistic integrity at MLB Network. it might as well, as Francisco said, it might as well be state television. So you screwed up,
Yeah.
Rob Manfred.
Yeah, it's
there is. I don't know what you were. I'll say this: even if I agreed with even if I agreed with the sentiment that the players are to blame here, what were you thinking? Honestly, what was he thinking?
It was bad. It's bad enough that he was fired, but he fired this guy, but also he fired one of the most prolific MLB writers right now, one that most people like. So, especially if you're a baseball fan. So, most people are not on Major League Baseball side at all, which is something that baseball doesn't need going into, I guess, these collective bargaining negotiations and going into this lockout, which could go deeper and deeper, and MLB could come out of this, as a lot of people don't remember, and baseball has had, of course, falling attendance, falling ratings. After the 94 strike, baseball was in a lot of bad trouble coming out of that. A lot of empty seats. People were pissed off. Okay, the thing that saved it was Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa back in 1998. That's what brought baseball back into prominence. And like with all the accusations, watch, you're gonna have a juice ball, and you're gonna have two guys going after 73. But then people are going to look at that supremely skeptically. So, if there's a silver lining to this, maybe this lockout and everything is the run up to the end of Rob Manfred's tenure as MLB commissioner.
I hope so.
You know, especially if the players somehow get a lot of wins in the negotiations, because the owners would hate that, and if the players get a lot of wins, and then the owners come out, and then baseball's still low, and people are just apathetic to it, it could finally be, to the point where they get rid of them. So we'll see. But yeah, well, welcome back, Robbie. You're a goon once more. You've always been a goon. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw on Deadspin, they have their Idiots of the Year, where I think they name it's like 100 people that they name over the course. I think it was over the course of 2 years, because I don't think they did it in 2020 for of course obvious reasons. But they did it for this year, and they've accumulated 100 different people. Rob Manfred is, I think he's like number 7 or number 6. He's up there. He's one of the
Trevor's got to be ones. One, right?
Which one?
Trevor and Urban got to be in the one.
Oh, Urban, yeah, Urban's I think was like number 5 or number 8. One of those guys. Shad Khan was up there. There are a bunch of guys out there. And not just from strictly the sports world, of course. If there's even a remote sports connection, they added people from outside of sports, entertainers, and politicians. So it's not strictly sports, but the suspects that you would think are there. And yeah. So well, there you go. Trevor Bauer was there on there, of course. You got that. So yeah, Gottlieb's Goons. That's one. I don't know if you guys had any more from. That's the more recent one that I think we all kind of noticed. So there you go. All right, a little happiness. Let's go with the real MVP, guys. Charles, you brought one up. All right, Shaquille O'Neal.
Wasn't that good? Wasn't that good for the heart? I find it partially is a lie, because when you announce what he did, one of them makes sense, the other one doesn't, based off the economics of it. But what a good guy. Take it away, Francisco.
So yeah, Shaquille O'Neal. Charles posted up a thing where he showered an elementary school with basically a bunch of gifts. Okay, they got bikes and toys and Nintendo Switches and PS5s, Okay, apparently
that's where I'm like, did he really do it? Because that's 1,000. He said,
yeah, 1,000 PS5. I don't know. I don't know if there was a scalper out there or that hit the jackpot. There's a possibility of that, but and of course Shaq was like,
with Sony.
Of course Shaq has an uncle that works at Nintendo or something like that because he was able to snag 1,000 Switches from what he said. And I went to Walmart and got a bunch of stuff, and yeah, just Christmas joy to a ton of kids out there. So good on you, Shaq. Good on you. Okay, so that's hopefully that doesn't affect the pairing of teams I have on Rocket League, because there's a bunch of noobs that get on there and they bring down my rankings when I'm lined up with them. So that's not good. I don't want that to happen. But there could be a bunch of noobs on Super Smash Brothers, and I can lay waste. That could also happen too. So there you go. And of course Charles can school some kids on PS5 and Madden or something like that.
I've only played like one game because I just have so many games. I love and hate both Returnal. I'm gonna get. It reminds me of DuckTales. That rage. That rage cannot be untethered for much longer.
Yep. So let's see. How much time are we? So we're 26 minutes in. Let's see. All right, guys. I guess we can do the NFL right now. Let's just start with the big thing. I didn't want to put this under Goons because from what I've been reading and things like that, I don't really want to make this like whole Goons thing or anything like that. Just put it as a regular whatever segment here. But the Antonio Brown thing, you guys saw that, of course, right? The meltdown.
Yeah. Which one, right?
Yeah,
well,
latest.
At that point, we're taking tallies.
Latest meltdown for Antonio Brown. There are, of course, two sides to the story, and there's insight coming in from all areas, and it's gotten me thinking, of course, especially for myself nowadays, personally, and of course, myself personally from about a year ago now, but just the mental health of Antonio Brown, and this man needs help. He needs some help. There's a lot of speculation as to how Antonio Brown became this. Okay. Of course, he came from Central Michigan, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where he came out of. He's from South Florida, from Miami. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers for a very long time, and was pretty quiet. Like 5 years into his career or something like that, and then
like 7. It was only when he wanted some more money, and then Vontaze Burfict just kind of sent him to the shadow realm one day.
So Perfect. That was one of the things that people point out to, that maybe if you could inspect Antonio Brown's brain, he might be like the poster child for CTE, because a lot of people say that the hit that he suffered from Burfict kind of jostled his brain so much that it must have done something to him, because they said he wasn't the same type of person. He became more outlandish from there on out. Other people, and I guess other players and stuff like that, from what I've heard on sports radio and things like that, say that it was really, he became a diva when he got paid. So when he got the big bucks, that's when he decided he got a big giant ego, and people attribute that to that. So there's two sides to that, and of course the ending in Pittsburgh wasn't great. Mike Tomlin somehow was able to keep it together for so long, but of course his Antonio Brown's issues with Ben Roethlisberger caused him to get traded to the Raiders. He got frostbite, right? That was the thing that happened.
Frostbite, then realized Mike Mayock's not a real GM. He's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah. So issues in Oakland. In Oakland. They weren't in Vegas by that point, and then somehow was out of the game. And then the Buccaneers pick him up. Wins the Super Bowl ring.
He went to the Patriots.
Yeah, that's right. He was on the Patriots. That's right. That was right. So with Tom Brady and those guys. And then, the Buccaneers picked him up. and he won a ring with Tampa. But this year, they were losing to the New York Jets 10-24 at that point. And there are two sides to this. So we've got Bruce Arians, head coach of the Buccaneers, saying that he wanted him to get into the game, and AB was refusing because he was saying he was hurt. He said it twice, and then became an issue. And Bruce Arians was basically like, all right, you're not going to play, get off my team. And Antonio Brown got set off and kind of took that as, oh, I'm off the team. And then he took off his jersey and his pads, flung them someplace, took off whatever, flung it into the crowd. And then as the game was going on, went into the opposing end zone and was jumping around, hyping up the crowd. And then he just left. And he was gone. And then you had of course, the press conference. Bruce Arians saying he's no longer on the Bucs anymore. And from what Antonio Brown has been saying is that, one, he was hurt, and two, he was saying, I think earlier in the game they weren't putting him in or something like that, or there was an issue with him getting not his touches because he was targeted, but with the incentives, the bonus incentives in his contract. And he felt that the Buccaneers were kind of holding him back so that he wouldn't hit the thresholds that would, get that incentive, and they wouldn't have to pay him the bonus money. So that's a thing. And for a lot of former NFL players been sounding off on this, saying like, yeah, well, that is a thing. That is a thing that is a thing that happens. So it's not completely out of left field for AB to say that. And so a lot of players believe him with regards to that, but other players kind of look at what Bruce Arians and was like, well, I mean, that was also pretty reasonable. So, yeah. So we're here with Antonio Brown. He's gone. You got to think this is it. This is it, right? In his career, like this is it. This is the end, right?
I mean, I'm just saying. There's a certain team in Nashville that will take any receiver help because, we already rely on one old busted man who I believe will show out the blowout at the playoffs, I hope. Screw it, take him, whatever. No, wouldn't happen. He's done.
Yeah.
Because he has to actually, if he's cut and everything, no one wants to assume that contract. We're so late into the game. It takes too long to learn playbooks. You can't just be like OBJ, who doesn't really run routes. He's just anywhere near the end zone that he'll kind of catch it and go and get the touchdown. But it's too complex. Today's NFL is not easy for players to just kind of go on a couple of weeks' notice unless they have familiarity for that system.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Well, that's it for that. The irony was the Buccaneers came back to win that game. 28-24. Of course, it's the New York Jets, so yeah.
And but it's Tom.
Yeah. So there you go. The Buccaneers came back to win that game, and that's it. That was it for that. All right. So let's go on. So this was week 17. A lot of stuff has happened. I'm gonna kind of go over where we are with regards to the final week of the season that's about to pop up. The playoff race is going down. So we're going to start with the NFC, and then we'll get to the AFC because that's where the teams that we care about. I have one team that I hate, but you guys know my feelings of that. We'll get to that. So NFC, number one seeders are the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. Green Bay Packers, number one seed, 13-3.
Playing real people.
Yeah, leading the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers showing out for his final season in Green Bay before he gets signed to the Miami Dolphins.
Listen, I put that groundwork on there for you.
Yeah.
Of how you should do it, why you should do it, and no excuse of why you shouldn't do it.
All right, so there's that. The number 2 seed, the Los Angeles Rams, leading the NFC West. So that's set in stone there. Number 3 are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, NFC South. That's set in stone, 12-4. Dallas Cowboys leading the NFC East, 11-5. Right, so those are all your division leaders. And then the wild cards. We got the Los Angeles Rams. Or no, gosh darn it. I'm looking at this wrong. The Arizona Cardinals. Okay, who have been proven to be frauds.
Frauds!
Oh. That was... Charles was vindicated over this month.
Look, real quickly. Sandlot football means nothing. Y'all just held on because you had a great man named DeAndre Hopkins, even though they won games without him. I can't explain it. Explain that. How Colt McCoy come on without DeAndre Hopkins, but how Kyler Murray just kind of nosedived without him. I don't know.
So there's that. The San Francisco 49ers at number 6. And the Philadelphia Eagles at number 7. So that's what's going down. Those are the playoff spots right now in the NFC. So and well, you've got the New Orleans Saints still fighting. I think they have they're the only team that has a shot to take that final spot. I think.
Yeah, I think so. They need a lot of help though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do need a lot of help, but there's a possibility that they could take that final spot. And that's it for the NFC. Then we got the AFC. Charles's Tennessee Titans are number 1 at the moment. Without Derrick Henry, they're 11-5, leading the AFC South.
But he might be coming back.
So Charles is warming up, doing his hand stretches. Okay, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Trash.
AFC West, 11-5. Type of team that are like, can we turn it on when we feel like it? We'll see. The Cincinnati Bengals winning the AFC North. Joe Burrow.
Yay?
Joe Burrow somehow surviving. He hasn't died yet. And he's survived thus far, led the Bengals to an actual division title. And then we got the Buffalo Bills, 10-6. All right. And then the wild cards. The New England Patriots still got a chance to win that division over the Bills. We'll see what happens in the final week. The Indianapolis Colts is in there at number 6. And the Los Angeles Chargers should be in San Diego at 9-7. The Vegas Raiders have a chance of also making the playoffs, 9-7. I think the Steelers
mathematically are, but everybody's got to lose.
Yeah. So there's that, and then that's it. So there we go. So how did we get here? What happened over this past weekend? Well, Charles, let's start with the head-to-head that we had. Your beloved Titans versus my hated Dolphins. And I was vindicated this past weekend, guys. You guys remember my rant back in, I don't know, was it October? Something like that?
Pretty much it was October.
Yeah. They were 1-7. And I finally had it. I finally said, you know what? I'm done with the Miami Dolphins. I am done with them. I will not follow them. I will not watch their games. I am done. I have finally stopped drinking the Kool-Aid. They do this every year. Just find a way to, and this was the year. The year that I was given actual hope. I went to training camp, guys. Doug dragged me to training camp. He bought a helmet.
Memorabilia.
I bought a hat. I bought 2 hats, guys. I bought 2 hats. Like I was like, this is legitimate. I'm legitimately excited. Hooray! And then of course they became the Dolphins. 1-7. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. Screw all of this. And then they win a game. Then they win another game. And then they win another game. And they win another one. And then they're back at 500. And then they are above 500? Yeah. Yeah, they went 8-7. But I held firm, saying I still don't believe this. They're gonna find a way to screw this up at the end of the season. Watch. They're gonna do it. And I even told Doug, I'm still not. I'm not gonna believe. Why? But South Florida. I was listening to sports radio. Everybody started drinking the Kool-Aid. Gosh, man. I listened to Hockman and Crowder on the show, and he had like this question. Are the Miami Dolphins as constructed right now? Not at the beginning. Are they a playoff team? Like they were throwing around those questions. I'm like, no, this team is not a playoff team. Okay, there's a reason they were 1-7. There's a reason for all of this. But on Twitter, people drinking the Kool-Aid. Tua is an actual good quarterback, guys. He's the most accurate guy on the planet right now. He can throw it, and he'll throw it right at the guy. He can't throw it far, but a little bit closer, and he'll throw it right at the guy, and he's pretty accurate, Like, there was all thing like Tua's finally coming into his own. He's going to be a good quarterback, guys. We see it did work. The tank for Tua did work. We didn't have to draft Herbert. We didn't have to completely tank forever and get Burrow. No, we got our guy. He's our guy. But guess what, guys? The Dolphins finally played an actual team. An actual NFL caliber team. That was the Tennessee Titans. Tua once again was put forth in an actual, hey, you got to win situation, not garbage time against terrible teams like the New York Jets and the New York Giants, okay, and a fraudulent team like the Baltimore Ravens, like real teams. The Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill, okay.
The ultimate revenge.
Everything I ever wanted. All the things. The Miami Dolphins are terrible. That old segment that we did, like it finally came to pass. This team fucking sucks. And I was right. I was right to get off of this ship, and I'm not coming back. I'm still not back, guys. I don't. This team sucks, and there's no way to fix it. And Tua is not good. Okay. So, Tua's not a good quarterback.
He was the most accurate quarterback in the last couple of weeks. That's all I heard. Yeah. His completion percentage is 70%. His touchdown interception ratio 15-4.
Yeah. Well.
Jalen Waddle putting in this work. Mike Gesicki supposed to be the best tight end known to mankind. Xavier Howard supposed to be like the best.
Yeah, the Dolphins defense. They're back, guys. The Dolphins defense is back, Whatever. Tua's good. All right, it's just our offensive line. Our offensive line's what's holding everyone back. The Dolphins, as a very important thing, hold everyone back.
It wasn't just a loss. It wasn't just like a close loss. It was 34-3, man.
Yeah.
Granted, some of it was like garbage time touchdowns by us because we were just bringing that hatred. But I was watching that game. And the first half, I'm like, all right, relatively good. 10-3, you take it, or 14-3, you take it, whatever the thing is. And then came that third quarter. And then came all the Tua can't hold on to the ball whatsoever.
Yep.
Handoffs were dropped. There was like a fumble of him just dropping back, trying to get the thing in throwing position. It's as if the guy has never held the ball before. And that's sometimes the issue that some people have. They're playing in inclement weather because they're not used to it. And you're really not used to it all the time in college, because I can't recall, maybe Andrew can get some life in here because we're talking NFL. I can't recall the last college football game I've seen where there's like heavy rain. There was some rain going on in Tennessee, but everything was bad. Remember when they started out like 1-7? I made a comment to you in our group chat where I'm like, man, these guys quit playing for Flores. It really kind of showed, because you don't get blown out in must-win games often. You don't play hard for your coach if you're getting dropped by 31 points. It shows that there wasn't really preparation on any side of the ball, offensively or defensively. And Tua was inaccurate completely, but it really doesn't feel like there was a game plan, because you had two teams that are constructed similarly in theory. But the one thing about Mike Vrabel is that he will at least be willing to kind of adapt to certain things if need be, whereas Brian Flores is just like, play hard. Okay. But you have to actually show a modicum of success, and most of the time, defense can't do anything if you're out there for the 3 and outs all the time.
That's highly like I think he is a player's coach, and I think guys do buy in, but they like he can prepare them against those teams that they beat to get to 8-7, right?
Also lost in Jacksonville, so what does that say, right?
Well, yeah, but you can get them there. you know. But he cannot. It's not like he can't get them to start off well. Like not even like they have like slow starts. This is like the third year in a row they've had slow starts where it's just like okay they're kind of hanging in there or whatever. But no, this is this is like they're facing a real team, an actual team that they can with something on the line, and they once again completely pooped the bed. Like the same thing happened last season, the final game of the year against Buffalo, and they got completely destroyed. And yeah, so.
And that's the thing. He gets the excuse in the first season because remember that's when they went 6-10. The expectations were so low, so everybody was like, "This is great." The 10-6 season was kind of the problem, and it's also as if the draft did not look for anything that helped, and at no point was there signing for the thing that Tua needed the most, which was a strong running back, because of the fact that that's how Tua really kind of benefited in college. Now I understand the guy had thrown for like numerous 500 yards and all these fun things, but when you're in Bama, even with Bryce Young and what he was doing over this season, every quarterback, Mac Jones, Tua, whole bunch of dudes were able, Greg McElroy, we're just going down the list, were able to succeed with some kind of running back who was a pure stud, pure lead. Case in point, Najee Harris, Derrick Henry, even Fat Boy Eddie Lacy, all these people were able to, I feel like I'm missing one other guy, Mark Ingram? Yeah. Were able to really kind of benefit because that's the structure. So now, instead of having that supporting cast in the run game for Tua, what happens is that transition doesn't work well in the professional appeal. And you want to know how I have a proper comparison of it? Look what's going on in Mac Jones. Aside from the fact that Bill Belichick is a genius and Josh McDaniels is a genius offensive coordinator, they take the tape, they see what helped you, benefit the most in college, and then build in there. You have Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson just destroying the hell out of that defensive line, whoever they're playing against, and then asking your quarterback not to do too much. Now, mind you, I know the offensive line is vastly different, but I would venture to say that the defense itself is on par for New England that they have in Miami, especially since their cornerbacks, aside from J.C. Jackson, were really just supposed to be good. Howard was always asking for big money. Each year always has to get raised. Byron Murphy got signed out. And then you have some draft potential of Jalen Phillips. But what's going on? Because Brian Flores just said, all right, year two, you can do this. And that's also on your homeboy. I forgot your GM's name.
Chris Greer.
Whatever his name is. Chris Greer. I was going to say Chris Ballard, but Chris Greer, because they didn't look at it and they put too much expectation. Because is that not the problem, too, with GMs, when they have a first or second year, even going to a third year quarterback, where they say, you can do it all. We don't really have to build as strong of an offense. And they think getting weapons, and you guys can't see me, guess what I'm doing, finger quotes, weapons are going to help you out. But Devontae Parker is not a weapon. He's a weak number 2, solid number 3. Mike Gesicki might be a weapon, but he's also a tight end. And what is a tight end also paid to do? Block. And they don't have a runner to do that because you just have Myles Gaskin, Salvin Ahmed, and I don't know, Philip Lindsay, who wasn't loved enough in Houston, wasn't loved enough in Denver. So it's a little bit of everything, but you can't expect somebody who really didn't do it himself in college to have to do it all in football just yet.
Yep. And
it's just been interesting because, here we are structurally sound as a team in Tennessee, and everybody just hates on us and thinks we can't do it. We're like number 7 on power rankings. I'm like, what? Not only do we have the AFC, number 1 division, hopefully we don't lose to Houston like we did last time. We actually have a competent record as well. Only better than us is over in Green Bay. There's no other 12-win teams, but whatever.
Yeah, well, okay. So yeah, your Titans, but put the spank in there. Okay, yeah, it was a lot of surprising facts here. This is the first time you guys have won back-to-back division titles. At least the first time as a Tennessee team. Since you were in Houston, and that was way back when. And then 2 straight 11-win seasons for the first time in a while. So there you go. And yeah, the Dolphins effing suck. Yeah, first team ever to have a 7-game losing streak and a 7-game win streak. Oh boy. All right, other games. The Eagles and the football team. 2016. And so the Eagles clinched their playoff berth right there.
Sirianni, Coach of the Year, saying that right now.
Yeah. I didn't expect much from the Eagles, but look, Jalen Hurts almost died because the Washington Football Stadium was doing a better job of sacking him than the actual team. So, and yeah, the football team is going to announce their new name February 2nd. So we'll point and laugh at them for that soon enough, unless they actually get something
successful.
Yeah, sure. Unless they actually get something right with the name, that could be a really surprising thing in 2022. Okay, so the Rams.
Fraudulent, maybe?
They won 2019 over the Ravens. So Cup surpassed Isaac Bruce for most reception yards in the season in Rams history. That's interesting. Of course, we talked about the Bucs and the Jets. The Patriots put 50 on the Jaguars to clinch the playoff spot. Okay, so there you go. The Raiders 23-20 over the Colts. Chiefs losing to the Bengals, who clinched their division spot. Let's see. The Bears over the Giants. That game didn't matter. Falcons and the Bills. Bills winning 29-15. Yeah, but they did what they were supposed to do, beating Atlanta, who were also a team that was like, well, we kind of suck, but hey, we might actually get a shot at this. And then it was like, nope, no, you guys suck. Okay. The 49ers beating the Texans 23-7. The Chargers, Herbert doing the thing, winning a game he was supposed to win 34-13. And the most pass touchdowns in a season in Chargers history. So he set that record already. Saints.
Crazy considering the fact that you had Phillip Rivers there, man.
Yeah, well, he passed Phillip Rivers. That was the record that he beat. So he's got 35 touchdowns already in year 2. So yeah, the Dolphins screwed up. Right. The Lions losing to the Seahawks 15-29. That doesn't matter. Cardinals barely beating the Cowboys 25-22. Packers spanking the Vikings. And they have home field advantage in the NFC. And the Steelers 26-14 over Cleveland and Baker Mayfield. There were a lot of jokes as to whether he's going to go into the transfer portal. That was actually pretty funny.
I feel bad for Baker, man. Like, they should have just not even played him yesterday. Like, they knew they were mathematically out of the equation. And they're like, we're still going to play you because F Pittsburgh. And the guy's just going to get further hurt. He's got a popped shoulder, torn shoulder, everything going on. Bad knees, bad everything.
What is the point? Unless he's one of those guys that are like, no, I'm getting my damn incentives.
Well, no. He's on that rookie contract guarantee. But here's the thing. Now they're going to shut him down for next week, so he's not going to be there. So if you already knew you were going to make this decision and he needed surgery like ASAP, how are you helping your investment? Because what if there's a possibility that it intensifies further? I mean, if I'm playing a game with a separated shoulder, torn ligaments, bad knees, and then I have the option to be sick because we're mathematically out there, I would be gladly taking that, considering the fact that the opposing side has TJ Watt, and like he ain't gonna be nice. He ain't gonna kiss me on the lips as he drags me to the ground. Hell no.
Yep. Well, and so that's where we're at in the NFL, guys. Anything else that sticks out you want to mention?
Did Urban get fired when we were gone or no?
Yeah, that's when he got canned.
Called it. Charles Stradamus, buy our shirt. That's why I'm plugging it. I said he wouldn't last one season. Mm-hmm. I literally said that when he was hired. Respect the technique.
Yep. So yeah, Urban Meyer is finally fired, guys. Angie, you can go back to being a Jaguars fan if you feel like it. You know, so you can go back to that. And yeah, this is up there with one of the worst coaching hires in NFL history. I would say it's up there. Okay, and yeah.
They here's the thing, we talked about Shad Khan being a joke too, a little bit as a bad owner. This is not the first time he has fired a coach within 1 year. He did the same thing to, I believe, Mike Mularkey when they went 1-15.
Yep.
When they hired him, when they had Blaine Gabbert as their quarterback. So you talk about not being able to get it right. Boy, howdy. Boy, howdy. I guess the best thing is you can't go any lower. Unless, Shad, if you're hearing now, you just hired me. And I will give you the first ever 0-17 team. But I played a lot of Madden, so I could probably coach up. Slants, verts, baby.
So, yeah, that happened. And then I'm going to show this off in the Goose Nest gift shop. We have the Charles Stradamus t-shirt now. Okay. Not just the t-shirt, you can get the hoodie, you can get stickers, you can get the mug, you can get the mask if you feel like it. Okay, because
it is a sweet beard.
A lot of eerily accurate predictions by this guy, and we finally immortalized it in the form of merch. So get yours. Okay, $20.
I predict you will all look good if you wear it.
Yeah. So we're done with that. We got all kinds of stuff there on the gift shop. So check that out if you feel like it. Where are we at here? Okay, what else can I talk about? What else can go down? Let's see. Let's take a look at the scoreboard right now. So we got NHL.
Can you guys hear me?
Now I can.
Now we can.
What's up, Andrew?
We didn't know if we bored you with football or not.
For some, I don't get it. For some reason, my mic keeps
dying,
cutting off.
Is the plug completely plugged in? Maybe sometimes it loosens up.
No, I'm just using the computer.
Oh, that sounds pretty. Oh, okay, it sounds super clear.
It's a new laptop.
Oh, nice.
But I don't know why I forgot about it, but I have a Gottlieb Goon.
Oh, here we go. Let's do it.
I'm not sure if this is the first time I brought him on the show, but damn if I shouldn't have brought him on before. Kirk Herbstreit.
Oh, yeah.
So, my man Kirk here, actually I shouldn't even call him my man.
The big hissy fit.
He's on my shit list right now, and makes sense considering I'm calling him my Gottlieb Goon. So there's been a debate recently over the past few years, mainly since the college football playoff began in 2014. That's when this started to kind of happen more and started to kind of come to the forefront. You have players that are opting out for college football. You guys that have opting out of their bowls.
Yeah, this is the big thing going down. Andrew, can we start this conversation going into the second half?
Sure.
This is a big one, and I think it's probably the topic at issue going on right now in college sports, in college football especially, right now. So let's put a pin in that because we're getting to the halfway point, guys, and we know what that means. It's a word from our non-sponsors, people, places, things, concepts, what have you, that we've been enjoying over the last, well, we could even say the last month, over the holidays, over the new year. So, who wants to start off in 2022?
I'll do it.
All right, Andrew.
Considering that I just brought it up, my non-sponsor is Hewlett Packard.
Oh, here we go.
I support this.
Hewlett Packard, which is an electronics company, is the manufacturer of my brand new laptop. It is, needless to say,
you
I'm
desperately needed one.
Yes, I desperately needed one. One thing that I still have my Macs, mind you, but they're kind of collecting dust right now because this thing is just so quick. The one thing I miss about the Macs is that one, you could click into the touchpad. The touchpad doubled as your click. I found that a lot more efficient. And then also, Mac does a lot better with typing shortcuts. I like to use M dashes and N dashes a lot. Section symbols, all that jazz.
Yeah.
you have to enter these alt codes in. And
Yeah, it's more trouble on a Windows.
right. That being said, and also the just in general, the shortcuts are a lot harder. Like to take a screenshot, hell of a lot easier on a Mac. You just have to click 3 buttons, bam, bam, bam. There you go.
Yours doesn't have like a print screen button. That's usually the screenshot button on the
True, but
PCs.
I don't usually try to do the whole screen. I usually do one window.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a thing. Yeah, it takes the whole screen instead of just the actual window.
But I digress. I'm sure as I go on, I'll find tips and tricks. But man, this thing is fast.
What's the model? So I can look for it here.
It is. Let's see.
Doesn't say it on the front there, or on the bottom.
Here we go. Hold on. It is a 15-DW3.
I'll see if that pops up anything. Is it like this Envy thing that I see here?
I have a Pavilion X360. I have the little sticker.
Let's see.
Is it a i5, an i7, solid state drive?
It's got to be one of these. Like, is it like? Does it turn into a tablet? Is it one of those?
No.
No. Okay. It's got to be this NV13 here. That kind of looks like it, right? Does it look like that?
Let me
Is
see.
it 13.3 inch screen? It's silver.
It is silver.
That's what they show here. I don't know if anything, it'll look similar to it at least. This isn't one of those 2-in-1s.
No, it's just the laptop.
Okay. Yeah, even on my 2-in-1, I kind of find it. A tablet's just much easier. The 2-in-1 thing sounds like it's a good idea, but I think it's more unwieldy, especially from the size of it. But I don't know. But either way,
I don't use a tablet form on my one.
either way, Andrew's got a PC. That means you can game on it, Andrew, and that means I could send you all the things to get all the free games.
Hell yeah.
You can actually play a game. Yeah, look, hey man, we got Tomb Raider. You can still claim Tomb Raider if you feel like it. I don't know if you're
all the
that
Tomb
thing.
Raiders.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. Man, you might be able to run it on completely low settings too. Like, there's a possibility. So you can game on that. So that's opening up to you. So we'll see if we can turn Andrew into a hardcore PC gamer, PC master race. Okay, and then he'll dye his hair pink. He'll have RGB laptop and mouse and and chair. He'll have a gaming chair. It's like, yeah, damn for Hill is 69 here. So, but you're enjoying it. The speed obviously is probably the huge upgrade there, and you sound super clear, dude. That mic is pretty good. That's in it.
Yeah,
I'm very surprised.
I mean, let me tell you this. So, I currently have 3 laptops. One of them I use kind of as a tertiary auxiliary. That thing is from 2008. I barely use that. Although that was the laptop I used while I was in law school. So that thing almost made it to 10 years as an active use. The 2 that I use most now are from 2012. So they're at 10 years, more or less. The one that I prefer, which is a lot faster, unfortunately, if a couple of the keyboard broke on the M period and comma keys.
Ooh,
So
those are super
makes-
necessary.
it makes typing really hard. I have to just copy and paste all the time. So then I have this other one, which is a lot faster, which the keyboard works, but it is slow as hell. But now I have functioning keyboard and speed. So I am very happy of this development. And, you know, like I said, I prefer the Apple shortcuts and all that, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, that's been a life changer. I can actually do shit now in relatively quick speed.
Okay. I'm happy for you, man.
I'll have to show it to you next time I can see you in person. Promo code bad shortcuts.
Okay. Who's next?
Sure.
All right.
That's how we started to it. Because, you know, I'm coming in the ideas with superlatives, but then, you know, my brain had to go functioning because I can't live in the past, guys, you know. But, however, past can lead to the present, which is the future of all things. So I look back and I say, what have I been doing a lot of times? And there's so many options that I can give credit to, I can enjoy. But to do so would be like giving, you know, homage and appreciation to Disney, and that makes me want to vomit a little bit in my throat. So instead, what I'll do is I'll just specifically address the show. How about this? So I saw the biggest Marvel blockbuster out there in 2021, and I was holding on to it for 2022, and it was not Spider-Man. It was Hawkeye on Disney Plus, and
that is such a good show.
It is just so damn good. I don't binge a lot. You guys know I'm bad about it. I am that person who will start something and then forget about it, or I just have it just kind of get stuck in my head a little bit. So this is going to kind of be a twofer because it is like two shows, but one of them's on a declarative. On a like an asterisk. One of the asterisks is Dexter New Blood. That's the past to the present, going to the future. I love Dexter originally, and now it's on New Blood. But the finale is like next week, so I can't comment on it, but watch it, and then we'll hear my rage next week. But talking about Hawkeye, we all like Avengers. I hate Disney. I like Marvel. I hate Disney. I hate Disney what they did to Star Wars. They bastardized it in the worst way because they thought that Star Wars is about flying glowing light sticks and explosions and all this other stuff. And it wasn't that. I won't belabor the point of what Star Wars meant to me individually, but it wasn't whatever the hell they decided to do from episode 7, 8, and 9, which is weird because I like 7, even though it's a rehash of New Hope. I like 8 because I like the idea of Luke messing up. I have so much mixed feelings about Skywalker or Rise of Skywalker, but I digress. So I was very anti-Disney Plus. You couldn't sell on to me. I didn't care about all the other Marvel shows. I don't care about Scarlet Witch missing her sex toy that is Vision. I don't care about Captain Soldier or Captain. Well, it is. I'm sorry. I don't care about Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier, even though I like the two characters, because really you just could have used that to transcend into the plot of your 4th Captain America movie. I don't care for What If. I hate multiverse as a theory because maybe I'm a person who lives in the past or the future, and I'm always very stuck on every decision I make. And I didn't care for there was like one other one that came out, but of course I forget it, and my ranting and raving and my hatred of things because I'm petty. But I like Hawkeye. I've read the Matt Fraction, David Aja comics. I like what they were going with it. I do read comics, so I don't need it to be shot for shot, word for word, everything to be a purist kind of thing. So I'm like, fine. The trailer looked fun. It looked grounded, which is what I needed it to be. I'm sick of these big old explosive, you know, multiverse galaxy things, considering the fact that certain characters shouldn't really be the ones introducing the concepts of multiverse. Spider-Man. But you're telling me you're going to a Hawkeye show? Fine. I watched it like start to finish in one day. 6 episodes ranging from 40 minutes to an hour. And it was just a lot of fun. I can't wait to cancel my Disney Plus subscription because it feels so dirty because of it. But Moon Knight comes out, and I did also read Moon Knight from the Warren Ellis construct, so that's really good too if you want to read stuff. Kanashu or Noshu, whatever they call his moon god. But there's certain time. I'm a sellout, guys. We already know that. So I feel like I just hate the fact that I'm defending myself on this, but I can't recommend it enough. It is fun. It's adventurous. It's got heart. Kate Bishop is an excellent secondary character. They took the liberties with some stuff. There's some big surprises in there that some people hate because they're associated with other things other people love. I feel it really comes down to the fact of what this show did well is where all the other Disney shows failed, is that they made Hawkeye your favorite Avenger without you realizing it. Scarlet Witch is my favorite Avenger after she had the opportunity to have 6 episodes to make a TV show. Nora is Winter Soldier, or Captain Falcon is what we're going to call him now until he fully encompasses it in the 4th movie. And damn it, I know there's another show I'm forgetting. It's going to bother me, folks. It's going to bother me so badly.
Daredevil?
But this, no. Listen. The Marvel construct, we never betray that. But I'm talking about Disney MCU shows, because it definitely wasn't What If.
Yeah.
But they achieved what I think they had to do with Hawkeye, which was to make him, either someone you can really root behind and favorite. Yes, you do have to watch. If you have not caught up on Loki. I don't care about that. All that to introduce multiverse. We love Tom Hiddleston, but I'm going to say it straight up. So let's stop loving villains. This man brought aliens to decimate Earth, but just because he helps out Thor 1 time, 2 times, we should forget the fact of how many people died. If there was Dragon Balls out there, maybe I could let it pass in the Vegeta concept mindset. Same thing with Frieza, but not in this case. Stop worshiping Loki. He's a bad hombre.
If only Ben Affleck Batman was in this universe, he wouldn't let him forget it.
Right, we wouldn't. But Hawkeye, I really went longer than I want. Martha.
Why'd you say that name?
Martha? I went longer on this than I should have, but it's definitely recommendable. I don't know if I need a 2nd season. They could just branch out to other shows, but this is how Disney should be using their time, their investment. I watched all 6 the day before Christmas Eve. I loved it. I'm entertained with it. And the thing is, it takes place during Christmas. So what's even better about this, you can make this into your Christmas tradition if you really chose to do so. And I don't see why you shouldn't, because God forbid everybody wants to go watch No Way Home 5 damn times and piss in my cereal because I say it's a week 8. But God knows I can't have an opinion. But you know what's not a week 8? Hawkeye. You know what you should do? Watch it if you haven't watched it. Even if you have to sell out like me and get Disney Plus, get the Hulu bundle. It's good. You get ESPN too. Some people hate it, but they gotta live with it, because if not, they're gonna starve. Promo code Best Archer Alive, or World's Best Archer. I'm trying to remember how Kate does it, but go watch it.
Okay. All right. So there you go. And I kind of had a feeling we'd mention Charles's feelings on Spider-Man a little bit in this show, so there we go. That's what I was expecting, guys. All right.
Although, by the way, no spoilers for No Way Home, because I finally just got around to seeing the first 2.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I was about to open the door up real much.
I actually binged them last night. I'm like, fine. They're actually quite good. They were a lot better than I expected.
Charles is not having it. Charles is not having Iron Spider.
He's a grown-ass man. He can like what he likes. God.
So, all right, guys. So, I guess I will go next. And my non-sponsor is the Epic Games Store.
Talk about real sellouts.
Yeah, Epic Games Store. I am... you can type in my creator code every time you buy something on the Epic Games Store, or Rocket League or Fortnite if you want. Just type in FGOGR. I get a kickback there. Come on, guys. Anyways, Epic Games Store. So it's technically not a sponsor. It's just, a collaboration affiliation. That's all. So they're not really a sponsor. Okay, guys? Just gonna throw that out there. But yeah, Epic Games Store. I don't know. There are people who are pissed off, like when they first came out. And it was like, well, Steam is better, because Steam was, of course, it's not like they had a monopoly on the PC gaming landscape, but they essentially did with regards to distributing games on PC. They were number one. If you were anybody, you would try and get your stuff on Steam, of course. But Steam has a I guess one of the issues with the developers is how much Steam gets their cut from the sales, and they had a big cut. So Epic Games comes in trying to be competitive. It's like, hey, we'll take a smaller cut, okay? Smaller cut, and you get on our stuff. And they were signing exclusive deals with developers and publishers out there, having timed exclusives for a lot of their games. And it pissed a lot of people off. But one of the things that they did to get a lot of people on their side was like, guys, we'll give you free games. Steam doesn't do that. Steam doesn't just give you free games unless the developer wants to give you free games. But you know what? We're the ones going to incentivize developers to every once in a while, you know what? Throw up a free game there. We'll pay for it, and let people join in on the fun. So Epic Games has been doing that since really their inception. I think their first one, the first big one, was Grand Theft Auto 5. So they threw that out as the first one to kind of get people to really entice people to join. But they've been doing it ever since, and they dropped a big one over the holiday break. A trio, the Tomb Raider trio of the latest reboot, Tomb Raider 1, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and Rise of the Tomb Raider. All three are free right now, Andrew, with your PC. Okay. Just sign up for the Epic Games Store, and you can get free games. And they got Gods Will Fall coming up after that, January 6th. So they're just constantly giving away free games from all types of genres and everything. So it's been good for me, guys. It's been good for me, kind of rounding out this PC game library that I have. You guys know that I've been strictly with Nintendo for a long time, and kind of held me back with regards to enjoying things that were on PlayStation and Xbox and stuff that were exclusively on PC. Not very few of them, but yeah, PC Master Race, just the graphics, the flexibility, things like that you can get with those. Okay, and I've got a ton of games for free because of that. Okay, I got Alien Isolation. I got A Plague Tale Innocence. I got Control also for free.
We love Control.
Got Control. Okay, there's got these 3 Tomb Raider games. Horizon Chase Turbo, an indie racing game that's kind of reminiscent of Outrun. I got that for free. It's a really good game. I really enjoyed that. Okay, I got Neo on here. I've got Prey, but Charles doesn't like that.
I don't want to poo-poo on Arcane, even though I gave definitely I think my final praise. Did I? I gave it my final non-sponsor.
You enjoyed it,
of the year.
Yeah. So
but you know what? Prey sucks. All right, we all make mistakes in life, and we improve, and that's what Arcane Lions did.
Yeah.
When they went from Prey, which was meh to death.
So I got Saints Row the Third, got Shenmue 3 recently, got Sonic Mania. Of course, I already bought that myself beforehand, but I got it for free anyways on Epic Games. Okay, it's the Stanley Parable, which is a pretty cool game as well. And recently just got World War Z. So just a bunch of games. So you got the AAAs on here. Okay, some maybe a few of them are a couple years old. That's not bad. They're like 2-3 years old. So it's been good for me. It's been really good for me. I really enjoyed it. And every once in a while they'll have like a sale. And I think every year they give you a $10. They give you like a like a $10 coupon to use on any game over $15. So I did that to buy Death Stranding for like $10 because Death Stranding was on sale.
We're both going to be Kojima stands.
Yeah. So
perfect.
Yeah. So it was on sale. I'm like, hey, why not? And then Charles just so happened to have gotten it on PS5. So we're going to find a way. Like whenever you're ready, Charles, I'm ready to play that game. So I still
it's going to be done too. That's the thing.
Yeah. Oh no, it's like 50. Yeah, no, it's a Kojima stroke fest, but it's gonna be 50 hours of that, and guess what? We'll have fun with that. So there you go. But yeah, Epic Games Store. If anybody who has a gaming PC or just even like a regular laptop, because you're gonna get those indie games, they're not really taxing on any laptop out there that you have. Just get it. You'll get free games. Well, who doesn't like free games? I've saved a ton of money because of that, and when they give you those $10 coupons, kind of gives you an incentive. Yeah, you know what? All right, things are on sale around the holidays. You can get games for cheap. Okay. So promo code Steam.
I thought, yeah, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it only makes sense. It only makes sense. Okay, why are you going to be pissed off when you got free games? They run on the damn computer anyways. You don't have to, it's like, oh, there's another client running on there. You don't have to open them all up at once when you turn on your PC, guys. Okay, there's options. It's the reason you got a PC is for the options and for the pirating of console games. All right.
And the mods.
Yeah, and the mods too. All right, so let's go on. So Andrew, we put a pin on your Gottlieb's goon. So let's get back to that. And it's Kirk Herbstreit, and yeah, let's go.
And to an extent, Desmond Howard as well.
Oh, okay.
So just as a little bit of background. So since really 2014, when the college football playoff has, in a sense, sort of devalued the non semifinal or final games. So really, it's even the biggest bowls, the Rose Bowl, the Peach Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, when they're not a semifinal, they are they are relegated to a lesser rank, even though they are the New Year Six. And that's not even mentioning the second tier bowls like the Citrus Bowl, the Outback Bowl, the Gator Bowl. But then when you're talking about the lower tier bowls like the Camellia Bowl, the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl, you name it. Mm-hmm. There are 42 bowls. I could go on for the rest of the show discussing each of them, but hey, we actually did that before the break.
Yeah, we did do that.
Or slightly after the break. But anyway, so you see a lot of players. A lot is a very relative term, because when each team has 100 kids and there are 130 schools, you're looking at 13,000 football players. Is that correct math?
Yeah. Well, okay. So, but yeah,
it's a lot.
Tree if you're asking lawyers to do math, but
but it's a lot. It's a lot of people. It's definitely not 1,300 because that would be 10. So yeah, I think 13,000. So we're talking about a handful of guys that are legitimate prospects for the NFL. So, I'm just going to be honest here. I mean, I care about every player, but let's be honest. There are certain guys, the Matt Corrals, the Caleb Williams at some point, the Dylan Gabriels, etc. The stars that are inevitably going to be in the draft. There's been a tendency for them to opt out of their bowl game in their final season. And the reason is pretty simple. They don't want to get injured. It gives them an extra month or so to prep for the NFL. But more importantly, it's one less game for them to get injured. And a very large contingent of people, and it's heavily supplemented by people like Kirk Herbstreit and Desmond Howard, are questioning the dedication of these players for opting out. And, I'll be honest, I was part of that crew initially when I didn't know better and I didn't really know when I was more naive, if you will. But listen, it's up to them. They don't owe anything to us as fans, to the school.
They're literally not getting paid. That's another thing.
They're not contractually obligated to play a game. I mean, in a sense they are, because if they choose not to play through the regular season, they can be stripped of their scholarship or kicked off the team, but it's one game. What are you going to do? Kick them off? They're going to the NFL. That's their final season. What are you going to do? But you've got Kirk Herbstreit here saying he was wondering why the non-playoff bowl games were meaningless to players. Isn't that what we do as football players? We compete. I don't know if changing it, expanding it the playoff is going to change anything. I really don't. I think this era of player just doesn't love football. And then Desmond Howard, who won the 1990 Heisman, and bear in mind, Kirk Herbstreit was, I'm going to look up his stats in college.
So
he played for 4 years. He had a grand total of 197 completions for 349 yards. There are quarterbacks today that rack up more than 349 yards in one game. He was a mediocre at best quarterback in college. He played, and the amazing thing is, he played all 12 games in his junior and his senior years, and he played 10. He played 12, 24, 34, 42 games, which is quite a lot. And yet, somehow, he only had 5 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. His only decent year was his senior year, where he had a pretty good 1,900 passing yards. But even then, he had a 4 touchdown to 6 interception rate. That's shit.
Yeah. And Ohio State only got to the Citrus Bowl in 1993. So
I mean, that's a. I'm going to be honest. That's a shitty quarterback.
You suck, Kirk.
Even Tua's better than you.
Well, at the college level, absolutely. Tua, I think Tua could have won the Heisman, but I digress.
Tua did win the Heisman, right?
I don't think so.
No. Well,
he didn't.
But regardless. So, yeah, Kirk
Bryce Young was Alabama's first QB to win the Heisman. But anyway, and then, admittedly, Desmond Howard is a legit.
He got all those other weird awards. Sorry.
And Desmond Howard, really good as a college football player, one of the best. He won the Heisman. Enough said. But they have such an old school mindset here. You're questioning. This is a great quote here. I think this era of player just doesn't love football.
I mean, yeah, that is awful.
Because so what you're saying, Kirk, and I apologize,
it's
gentlemen,
easy to love football when you were a backup, or a mediocre starter when Ohio State was in their lean years. It's easy to love football because you're lucky enough, like you just feel lucky to be there. Like it's you can love football then. You can try and love football then, but when these guys are literally doing this with an actual shot at making the NFL, it becomes a job to them, and then they got the whole thing with studying on top of that. Then it becomes a job, and it's hard to love it especially when everybody's taking advantage of you and you don't earn a single dime. But, you know.
So, and I apologize, gentlemen, but I pretty much guarantee that any shot of Kirk Herbstreit coming on our show is basically gone at this point. And thank God he doesn't own our radio station or our podcast. Otherwise, he probably would have fired me, like Rob Manfred.
Well, he's also an ESPN shill.
Yeah.
So what happens is
He
ESPN has all the
absolutely
balls.
Yeah.
So
He's like on the worst.
Don't try to lie on agendas. And it's so weird to have people who have the same mindset. But that's what I followed on the Twitter world. Everybody's like, you know what? This guy works for the the big red machine here. So the mouse. That's why you should cancel your Disney Plus subscriptions too.
Hey, don't insult the name of the Big Red Machine, one of the powerhouses of 1970s baseball.
Yeah, that's true.
I was talking about Glenn Jacobs, also known as
They did beat the Yankees. I mean,
WWE.
I don't know. Oh,
We all have different definitions of who the Big Red Machine is.
Oh no, the Yankees beat them in 1978.
Come on,
That's
Johnny
what it was.
Bench, Tony Pena,
Joe Morgan, rest his soul.
Joe Morgan,
Kane, allegedly the brother of Mark Calloway, the
Tony
Undertaker.
Perez. Tony
You
Perez.
find out 25 years he's not.
Pete Rose.
He's also mayor of Knoxville or Nashville.
Yeah.
but I digress.
Sorry, I'm going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny is very relative here. Very ironic thing is the day after Kirk Herbstreit says this, Ole Miss's quarterback Matt Corral gets injured in the Sugar Bowl. Matt Corral is projected to be going relatively early in the NFL draft. And all of a sudden, Kirk Herbstreit is like, oh God, I hope he's okay. And it's like, Kirk, you hypocritical asshole.
Yeah, there you go.
Because, so what you're saying is that Matt Corral did a good job by potentially sacrificing. Thank God it only appears to be an ankle sprain. That's the word, is that was only a mild ankle sprain, which if that's the case, that really should not affect his draft stock. But God forbid, what happens if he breaks his ankle instead of sprains it? Broken anything is going to drop your draft stock. I mean, look what happened to Tua. There was the whole tank for Tua thing until he, broke his hip or something?
But
No,
yeah,
it is
he broke something.
it was a
in
lower
his leg.
body injury. Let's use the NHL terminology there.
He did something bad to his lower body.
No, it was hip. It was his hip.
Yeah, he was right.
So that dropped him from 1 to 5, which in the grand scheme of things, it's not terrible, but that's millions of dollars that he lost. And that wasn't a regular season game, whatever. We're comparing apples to oranges here. But my point is, are you saying that Matt Corral is somehow more dedicated to football?
I love this comment here. You see it here. Matt Corral barely able to limp off the field right now, but at least Kirk Herbstreit doesn't have to question how much he loves playing football.
Exactly.
I don't want to hear any shit about opt-outs from him or anyone else. And a lot of people are still on this side here of him. If you opt out of your bowl game, you seriously wonder why you would be considered by an NFL team. You're a bad teammate, all this other stuff. And then this other guy here with not one high first round draft pick stock has ever fallen because they skipped the bowl game. None, zero. NFL teams don't care and likely actually prefer it because they want the talent they draft to be available day one. And there's also there's a disparaging of the two sides, because there's people, football fans, you have people who like both versions of football. You have people that love strictly college football and love strictly the NFL, and then you have the other stuff like Freddie that watches the CFL and stuff like that. But but it's just those two sides, and I think people who love strictly college football think like Kirk Herbstreit for the most, maybe not all of them, but I'm sure that most of the people on that side of the argument are strictly college football fans. People who cheer for Alabama, and Alabama's the only thing that they like, and the only thing that they care about, and the only thing that they have to live for because they live in Alabama. So, and we just lost every Alabama listener. So, not unless they not unless they live in Auburn.
Alabama
fans.
has seceded from Goof's nation.
Oh, well, it's not the first time it's seceded from anything. So they were wrong the last time they did it. So, yeah.
But my ultimate point though is they're opting out of one game.
Yeah. One game that ultimately doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Because look, like for me, when I hear, and I think Mackenzie Milton actually tweeted this out too, like when it's like, oh, seriously questioning them when they don't want to play in the Beef O'Brady's Bowl or something like that. Like you hear something like the Beef O'Brady's Bowl and you just think, what kind of shit show is this?
I mean, what seems to really get these people annoyed is when they're opting out of the bigger bowl games, like the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl.
But once more, like if the Rose Bowl and the Orange Bowl are not part of the 1 year where they're not part of the college football playoff thing, then what does the winning a gigantic bowl of oranges really matter? And
it's
your
not
school gets money and stuff like that, money that you don't get anyways.
It's not like let's say someone is like a 2-year starter, or if they're lucky, a 3-year starter. They're not opting out of these games when they still have more eligibility, and they're not obviously going to be going to the draft. You don't see a sophomore starter opting out and say, I'm opting out of this game. I'll be back next year. That would piss the team off. That would piss the fans off. He's choosing to end his career 1 game early. And, people are saying, he's so, selfish. He's letting his team down. A true example of that actually happening is Dylan Gabriel from UCF.
Ooh, I should know that heat was coming.
And again, if you want to transfer, fine. It's your life. Transfer. It's in the rules. Transfer. Go wherever you want. That's fine. What bothers me is when you force out Mackenzie Milton so that you can be the starter, and then when you break your collarbone, admittedly, that sucks, but he chose not to play for 2 months, even though he was totally rehabbed, and he basically shut himself in and was focused more on selling his socks and other wares, which again, totally fine with. But that's giving up on your team. If you say, I'm done here, say it right then. Don't drag it out and at a bare minimum just be a hindrance to your team. You're not. Look at Mackenzie Milton. He's out. His leg is beat to shit in 2019. But he's still there, and he wants to come back to play in 2020. But Mackenzie Milton is there teaching, mentoring, tutoring Dylan Gabriel, knowing full well that he's probably going to be taking his spot. And Dylan does more than just not pay it forward. He actively is duping the team and the fans. That's giving up on your team, not opting out of one bowl game.
Okay, so I got to interrupt. Why can't he just transfer, though? Even though you feel that it's his best situation, he doesn't want to be in that situation anymore.
He did transfer.
Yeah, but why are you giving him poo-poo on it? If he doesn't want to play for your school anymore, it's the same logic of I don't want to play in this bowl game out of prevention of injury.
Opt out in the middle of the year. Don't just stick around and waste resources. If you know you're not going to play, even though you're fully ready and available to play. I mean, I'm not 100% comparing him to Antonio Brown here because, I feel for Antonio. Something's up with his brain. It's obvious. But look what happened at the game on Sunday or whenever it was. The coach asked him to go in. He said no. The coach asked him again. He said no again. He said, all right, go, leave. So Dylan Gabriel.
That's a big stretch, man. You're talking about a guy who is, remind me for my sake, Gabriel, broken collarbone, wasn't going to play in the season anyway, right? His season was done.
That's not true.
That's why I'm asking for clarification. Okay.
He was cleared 2 months before the end of the season.
But he didn't want to play for y'all anyway, though.
It was supposed to be a 6-week injury, 6 to 8 week injury. He had 2 months where he was medically cleared and was just me being bum about it and just sitting around doing nothing, not even dressing in uniform for 2 months. I get it. If you're injured, that's fine. That sucks. But rehabilitate yourself, get better.
But if I don't want to be this guy, maybe Francisco was a facilitator, but you're on the Kirk Herbstreit mindset of you owe an obligation to the team, the school to do what I tell you should do, what ought to do, as opposed to looking to the individual.
Okay,
I think it's a big stretch to even say that him and Brown are the same guy.
So my whole deal,
even come close to that hemisphere.
My whole deal with whatever college football players want to do, my whole deal is you're not getting paid. And if you're not getting paid, you should be able to do whatever the hell you want within whatever rules are out there. So, if he can transfer to another school, guess what? UCF is not paying him. He's not contractually obligated to be at that school. He's gone. That's it. I mean, there's no moral hype. There's no morality. There's nothing to it. It's just whatever they want, they get. And the fact that they don't get paid is kind of like it's like, well, why? What's the incentive? Antonio Brown felt that he was wronged because there were incentives there and he was not getting, and that's why he went whatever. Whereas with the college athletes, there's no incentive to stay at a certain school. There's for whatever reason, there is no incentive to stay. Okay, you can get the name and likeness stuff off, on the side if you want to now, but there's no contractual obligation to stay at that school. They might have, I'm have obligations for getting that scholarship and stuff like that, but if you're within the rules, you can transfer. And if you have an NFL team lining up, go ahead and leave. Go ahead and just be like, you know what, peace out, guys. I'm done. It was nice being here. Tuscaloosa sucks as a city. I'm never coming back. That's it. Like that's how I see it. That's how they're not getting paid or whatever. Then. So c'est la vie. I think people got pissed at there was a thing with like Deion Sanders where a commit left Florida State to go work for him, and I'm just like, well, that sucks for Florida State, but the kid didn't sign anything, he didn't whatever, and he's still not getting paid. It's not like the Seminoles paid him, and he flaked out and then crashed everything and then went on over to them. That's not what happened. So Florida State fans who got angry and just like, guys, we're gonna suck anyways. So next year, what difference would this have made? But aside from the jokes from that, it doesn't like I don't feel it. I don't feel any sort of anger or I'm on the side of the players, to be honest. I'm on the side of the players, and yeah, that's my feelings on this whole thing with regards to either opting out of playing games or leaving your old school for another one. Like this is just or not committing to a school and changing your commit to someplace else. And it's like, hey, no dollar signs were put out there to kind of push into that. And maybe you can be hurt. Maybe things were promised, but there's no dotted line that says that that something else should have happened. So, until that day arrives, where it's really no skin off my nose, to be honest.
I mean, listen, UCF has had a lot of guys transfer recently. I'm fine with that. Like I said, go where you want to. It's your life. But it's that Dylan, if you know you're not going to play, just say it. Just enter the portal. Don't drag it out for the whole season. And, don't at least reciprocate a little bit of what your mentor did, which was to teach you, to be supportive.
I don't know. There might be something internal that might have happened. I have no idea.
Plus, at the end of the day, that's up to Gus to handle too. It's not as if if he knows the guy doesn't want to be there, he's not going to.
He doesn't want to be. Yeah, it's like I'm going to be Nightwing. I'm just going to leave.
You want everybody. Don't take offense, but you want every quarterback to do it the Milton way. But at the end of the day, with college football and it comes to quarterbacks, it is 4 hungry dogs with one bone. And here's the honest truth, man. Maybe Gillen was good, but what if you land that big star recruit? How many times do they have guys lined up? And there's plenty of people that get shifted out of phase because there might be another better recruit or transfer. So there is no loyalty upon the administration, and there's no loyalty from the coaches. There might be loyalty among the fan base because of the blood and soul, sure. But I think at the end of the day is that if you want to call it clandestine, by all means, go ahead. Francisco and I obviously have come from schools where it was clandestine city for the most part. But I think you fall under the whole telling people how they ought to act and how they should act and not just seeing how they acted. And then, it's just kind of blowing up more to the idea of like, did your organization suffer? Maybe, maybe not. Because all I know is everybody just took pot shots at Dylan Gabriel, and that's what he'll have to endure. But you still had a successful season, and that's more in the basis of you beat Florida, yay, going from there. That's more on the basis of how Gus handled it. It's not as if he got swindled out of money or he swindled you guys out of money as you get on the big bases. Or it's not as if your institution on the concept of for the love of the game cost people their career, because it happens. Like at Matt Corral, what might happen to him. But I think I have to get over the hump of, I don't see Gabriel's situation as a situation that connects the way that you want it to explain with Herbstreit, but you're going to have these situations that happen a lot because you're going to have the transfer portal available. And unless you go with the Nick Saban logic of transfer portal is bad, because it's what Saban did before the portal comes in. He still doesn't shut his mouth up about it either, because he wants to impede guys succeeding if they're not going to want to succeed at Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Where are we at? An hour 48. Anything more you guys want to talk about in college before we
Florida
move on?
sucks.
Well, that was great. Thank you for your service, UCF. Thank you very much for your service. Okay.
Cincinnati's a joke.
Well,
that was heated in the group chat, so I was going to come at that a little bit.
Well, they got there. They got there. Well,
let me just say this, Charles. Cincinnati lost by less than Michigan lost to Georgia.
Cincinnati also didn't score a touchdown, so good luck on that approach. But I am appreciative that they got their opportunity, because it makes me hope that one day a bad Miami team will make it too.
So, all right, so that happened too. And let's see, do I have... Actually, no, I can save that one for another time. I had one more segment, but... okay, I guess let me rattle off some other things. Here we go. NHL, they're not going to the Olympics. So that was a big thing that happened over the month. They will not be sending their players to Beijing for the Winter Olympics. Of course, China hates us. So nobody's going to hear this show about that unless they want to start the revolution. We might be the reason that the revolution starts, guys. Okay, it all started with the episode of Sports Goofs. I didn't realize I was living in communism and having human rights violations until I listened to Charles and Andrew.
We made Alabama and China join forces against us, a common cause.
So there's that, but it's just a lot of the things with the delays with regards to COVID. A lot of players, due to the protocols, have been out. Games have been delayed and postponed. And that Olympic break, it's the reason we don't have an all-star game this coming season. The reason why is because of the Olympic break. It just kind of ruins all of that. So guess what? Use that time that they would have been out there in Beijing, that, I don't know, maybe like a month that they take out for the season, and play the actual games. So I'm not against the decision, and the NHL doesn't get much. Like the players want to do it, but there's not much incentive going into that to do it this season. And really, I think until we get a Winter Olympic Games in the country that a lot of players are from, because of Russia or the United States or Canada, or maybe even like Sweden or something like that, players don't really feel excited to go. But so that went down in the NHL. As far as standings are concerned, the Lightning came back. They're currently in first place, but the Panthers spanked them recently, so that was good. And they're spanking the Flames right now. They've been spanking a lot of teams since they came out of their COVID protocol break. So that's been good.
And Lightning are up 7-2 right now on the Blue Jackets.
There we go. So Lightning are up there. The Leafs are, of course, hanging around as well. Third place in the Atlantic Division. The New York Rangers are back, everybody. They're leading the Metropolitan Division. They're tied with the Washington Capitals there for first. Carolina Hurricanes are right behind. They're a good team this season as well, so they're doing all right. The Penguins, they're hanging in there. Okay, they haven't broken up the band. There's no rebuilding going on anytime soon for the Penguins, so they're there. And the Boston Bruins hanging around 34 points, but a significant amount back behind Toronto in the Atlantic Division. And then teams hanging around, the Red Wings, the Flyers, but every team from Philadelphia are frauds. So there you go. St. Louis Blues leading the Central Division, 43 points. The Nashville Predators at 42. The Minnesota Wild at 40. They hosted the Winter Classic recently over at Target Field, home of the Twins. They lost to the Blues in that one, 6-4. It was minus 18 out there in Minneapolis outside. They actually had to warm up the ice because it was too cold. That was pretty interesting, but it was probably the most Winter Classic game, the most wintry a Winter Classic has ever looked. Probably. Like, that was as Winter Classic as it got with that game in Minnesota. Pacific Division, the Golden Knights are in first place. I kind of had a feeling about this. Their slow start was like, they'll be fine. The Anaheim Ducks are still hanging around at 41 points, and the Flames are at 40 points, but they've got a lot of games in hand. They've had a good season thus far. They'll move up soon enough. The Oilers have kind of stumbled a bit, and you can't just rely on Connor McJesus forever. And the Avalanche are sitting there, 38 points, and they're not far behind. They got a lot of games in hand. I felt that they had a slow start to the season, that they'll find a way to catch up soon enough. With all those games in hand, they should be able to. And then the LA Kings doing all right in their rebuild. They're 37 points, just sitting outside of a playoff spot. So that's what's going down in the NHL. It's kind of just been a lot of teams have been out. If you look at the games played in the standings, you'll see just teams. It's just kind of all over the place with regards to how many games teams are playing. They, for the most part, try to hang around, but some teams have played 35. Some teams have only played 28, 29. Like it's all over the place because of the protocols and the stoppages there. So That's what's going down. And let's go to the NBA real quick because we haven't even touched on
No.
it.
Yeah.
You know, my man crush Monday every day is hurt, guys, and I am very hurt myself because of that. But yeah, the NBA has been dealing with the COVID protocols and a lot of players out. It's been really weird. A lot of guys have been coming up from the G League, and guys getting signed on 10-8 contracts. Mario Chalmers is back on the Miami Heat. That happened over the course of this break, and the Chicago Bulls are first place. DeMar DeRozan is having an MVP type season, and he's been doing all right. Brooklyn's in second, Milwaukee's in third, Miami's in fourth, Philly's in fifth, Cleveland is in sixth. They just had a trade right now with the Lakers. The Lakers are trying to get back to something. And yeah, the Western Conference, Golden State and Phoenix right now. It's those two. Utah's there, but Utah's just a regular season team. They never do anything in the playoffs. Memphis is all right this season. Denver's there, but they're perish-orifices, and Charles doesn't like them.
Listen, man, I am the meteor, and I will make them extinct at some point. Frauds, I don't care. You know it's true. You know he looks like the damn dinosaur. Stop deluding yourselves.
I gotta make that into a shirt. And the Dallas Mavericks hanging around the Lakers are in there with the Clippers and the Timberwolves and the Kings. Heat lost to the Kings. And yeah. So
Listen,
you know,
you gotta suffer a little bit to appreciate it, right?
well, the Heat suffered yesterday because they lost to the Warriors and Jimmy got hurt. So that's been going on. Udonis Haslem had to play, guys. That's how bad these COVID the protocols are going. Udonis Haslem played real minutes in real games. So that was a sight to behold. And yeah, that's what's going down in the NBA. But everybody's all up in the Lakers drama right now, so I don't want to get into that. Everybody else is talking about that.
Yeah, they just need to chill, man.
Yeah, whatever.
If anything, get up in the drama of Golden State getting Clay back when they're already the best team in the league.
Yep.
And they're gonna get that man back.
Yep.
You know what's equatable to, or equates to? The Tennessee Titans being number 1 seed and getting Derrick Henry back.
Yeah.
That's right. It all comes together.
Yep. So that's the NBA, and well, let's go to the cage, guys. We're at the end. We're coming up here. We're going for 2 hours here, so let's do it.
Whew. Do you have room for 3? Welcome everybody to Weekly Truplex, The Cage with Charles, your friendly 2022 2022 reminder that wrestling is not fake, boys. It is scripted. It's a stage fight. It is basically men and women trying to beat the holy hell out of each other, win championships. It's poetry in motion. It is a soap opera trying to establish and cement their legacy. So much has happened in the last month, and it is not the same as last year, where nothing really happened except for Kenny Omega losing or winning the belt from Jon Moxley. We've had so much wrestling. Today is wrestling.
This is good because towards the end, you were getting really apathetic towards the end there.
I was so mad.
Yeah.
I was just so hateful. I'm still hateful, but it's hateful to exist in spite of your situations. You don't want to succeed. What you want to do is survive and endure, and then just let the other side know, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, that you're just not dead yet, and you're still here. As we speak right now, I'm seeing Von Wagner and Andre Chase on my screen because it's New Year's Eve on NXT. What was 12 hours ago? Wrestle Kingdom, New Japan's big pay-per-view, their equivalent of WrestleMania. What was Saturday on New Year's Day? There was day 1, the WWE pay-per-view. What is tomorrow? It is New Year's Rush, or where the hell AEW is coming into it. There's just so much wrestling, and I really thought I was going to kind of figure it out, but it all happened at one spot where it's like I'm getting jumped by like triplets. I thought I had beef with one dude at the bar, and then his 2 brothers came in. Not his boys, family members, all identical, and I don't know where to start first in this, whoop ass that is about to be opened on me. So we're going to go with what I had originally planned for the cage back then is superlatives for wrestling, because I feel it's important. Because what did I do in our break? I watched matches so I can compile lists, predominantly WWE. Why? Because I don't really pay for AEW stuff, even though I did watch full. Was it Full Gear that I watched?
You paid for one, and
it was good. And I watched for some new, and I had some issues, and I watched some New Japan stuff. But I couldn't go into the so by no means I'll give you like what I felt was my match of the year for WWE, and then recommended matches for you to watch. Match of the year for WWE: Walter versus Ilya Dragunov, WrestleMania Takeover 36 or whatever, the one that happened in April for the United Kingdom Championship. It was what you want it to be. I spoke highly of it 8 months ago. I speak highly of it. Now we're basically there was just men slapping the holy hell out of each other, telling a story, getting the drama. You saw the blood bursting on Ilya's chest. You heard Walter slaps.
Charles.
It was just so good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean,
meat slapping's happening.
Yeah, that meat slapping. I just want to mention that real quick.
Epic meat slapping.
Yeah.
Epic meat slapping is coming. Don't worry, that's what blew my mind. Don't worry, because it's like apparently I was a good boy in 2021 because Wrestle Santa has given me all that I want. And I don't
2021, yeah, it's like 2022 is like Charles wasn't impressed by Spider-Man, but here we go. 2022.
Yeah, because you know why? Wrestle Santa Claus rewarded me for telling the truth about No Way Home being a week 8. Sorry. So, match of the year, Ilya Dragunov, Walter. Other matches to watch for WWE that I felt was good, even though I don't agree with WWE's top 21 matches or 2021 matches because it's rigged. So, Walter again on there, defending his United Kingdom Championship against Tommaso Ciampa. Love that. You have Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Edge at the WrestleMania event. You have Feud of the Year, Seth Rollins versus Edge. That went 3 matches, SummerSlam, and then a SmackDown, and then the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. I only have one women's match that I had highly rated, and I think that was a triple threat of Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Bianca Belair at the Crown Jewel. I thought that was very good. I don't think I have any tag teams for WWE on there, but that's because I really just let the ball down so much. I'm sure I had Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole number 2 going against each other. The regular match that led to Cole winning, that was good. AEW stuff, I know I'm going to get some flack for it. My favorite match of the year from them was not Lucha Bros versus Young Bucks in the cage. Why? It was fun and sound and everything, but I need the story. What I loved so much, what I thought was muy fantástico was CM Punk and Eddie Kingston. You guys know it. You knew that was coming. That was 12 minutes of just pure.
He was at the Winter Classic,
by the way. Each other. Well, CM Punk loves his hockey.
Yeah,
he loves the Chicago Blackhawks, man, and it's just so enjoyable. I did also enjoy some of the Kenny Omega matches, even though I don't enjoy Kenny as a champion. But he lost the title to Adam Hangman Page, and now we're getting Hangman Page versus Daniel Bryan part 2. So now those are my superlatives. I'm not going to give you wrestlers of the years or anything. If I had to give you wrestler of the year, part of me wants to give it to Seth, but it's got to go to Roman, right? It has to be. The guy has a lot of my top lists. I don't know. Well, remember when I say wrestler of the year, I'm just breaking down to WWE, AEW, NJPW. AEW for me would probably be. I can't say Daniel Bryan, but he was probably the rest of the year because he went to go big stuff on 2 different promotions in 1 year. I'm just couching that right now, but I would say New Japan. I'm not New Japan for AEW. I would have to give it to Kenny, even though I was in love with how they did his title reign because he did help proponent everything needed to be. CM Punk's return was good. Give some credit to Darby Allin. Sting did some good work. I love me some Eddie Kingston. New Japan, it's always about Shingo Takagi. So let's break it down bit by bit. New Japan, Wrestle Kingdom Part 1 today happened. Remember, we talked about the predictions. The night 1 was going to be Shingo versus Okada, and then night 2 would go be whoever wins that against Will Ospreay. It breaks my heart to tell you this. My boy, Shingo Takagi, the last dragon, lost the title, the Transformers title, the Decepticon belt to Kazuchika Okada, and tomorrow they will go against, it will be him and Will Ospreay go against. So some other title changes happened today. Evil won the openweight title. New Japan, if you keep having the champions lose on their first defenses, what credibility are you going to have? That never openweight championship has literally been hot potatoed so much because you had Hiroshi Tanahashi have it. Then he lost to Jay White. Jay White lost it to Tomohiro Ishii. The Stone Pitbull. We love that man. He just lost it to Evil. Okay, fine. Tag titles changed. Now you have Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi, who are now New Japan Tag Team Champions. I believe they beat the Dangerous Tekkers. Wrestle Kingdom's tomorrow, part 2. Let's see if it has fun. I'll try to watch those matches. It's kind of tough because I don't want to pay for New Japan World, but YouTube doesn't have everything. But yet, if I paid for Disney Plus, why wouldn't I just grow up and be an adult and just pay for New Japan World so I can watch these matches that have been deprived of me? Sorry, Shingo, I loved you, but it was kind of right for a title change. Let's go to AEW. AEW! Tomorrow, Daniel Bryan and Adam Hangman Page are going to go against each other in part 2 of their match. The first match, which I was super livid, guys, because there's my dumbass playing Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, thinking that it was going to be in the final hour of AEW Dynamite in December, and it turns out that they started the show with that. So I missed 50 minutes. It went a full hour. It went a full hour to a draw, and I became legitimately so angry because I hate draws. I know they're trying to protect both guys. You just put the belt on Hangman, and then you have Bryan coming in hotter than just hotter than hot, man. Just hotter than the hottest hot sauce of ghost pepper that you can imagine. He was coming in from WWE and coming in here hitting the ground running. And you can't have him lose either, so you go to a draw. Here's my problem. You did that already with Kenny and him and Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. Forgive me. Forgive me, Cody. Follow us on Twitter at JOJR, Charles LaTrue, Dan Frioles. But, and sorry, Tony Khan. Follow us on Twitter. You already did that when it was Danielson versus Kenny in a non-title match where they already did a 30-minute exhibition and drew, and it led to a draw. And that was 2 months ago, really. So then you're going to do that again. So instead, an hour's a long time. You're showing a lot of the offense, and there's certain wrestlers who are going an hour long. You're going to hurt yourself a little bit. You don't always have to one-up the showman. You just have to show up for the show, if that makes sense. Now they're going to do this again, and what they put as the caveat here, fellas, is they're going to have, if it goes to an hour draw once more, they're going to have judges make the determination who wins or loses.
That's
why?
Very subjective.
Because wrestling's scripted, right? So that hurts me in my head, right? We say a lot of things are rigged, but you're actually legitimately rigging it when you think about it. And I would hope they do the big swerve where they actually have a winner declaratively before the hour goes up, because you can always have them rematch again. I don't care. Do it at the next pay-per-view. I understand people will get annoyed by that, but plausibly speaking, it's the silliest way if it actually goes to a draw and then judges, because I want to bring it back to the Attitude Era days. The only time I can think of there being judges where it was a bikini contest or something, right, that they did because Vince McMahon was misogynist and you needed a sex sell to horny 1999 disgusting men, in the real world. I don't think that has a place in 2022 if you're going to have judges trying to figure out who is the best wrestlers. And I think are they wrestlers who are judges? It's just silly. It's just super silly. I can't get behind it. And I don't know.
Figure skating.
Other things, right? Other things. Dynamite's no longer on TNT. It's a new year, so it's all going to be on TBS. So you're going to have Rampage, I think, still going to be on TNT, but you're going to have Dynamite on TBS. So there's that. Sammy Guevara lost the TNT title on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day to Cody Rhodes. So Cody is now a 3-time TNT champion. And I'm so against that. Sorry, Cody. I always give you a shout out when we talk about AEW, but I'm so against that because it meant that Miro's loss meant nothing. Miro was the TNT champion who beat Darby Allin and was on this incredible run, just killing people. He had this moniker of God's favorite champion. He would do promos, and when he lost the title to Sammy Guevara, he would basically have a going against God promo. And I love that stuff because the concept of man versus God is just so eluding in wrestling that I have to go all in. So it just means that the guy who lost him, because this was Sammy's run, he had 4 title defenses, none on pay-per-view, held the title for 84 days, and then Cody wins. I'm like, because that roster is bloated. I don't know who's winning. I don't like it. I'll just accept it. All I gotta do is accept it, right? And there will be more AEW stuff next week because we're gonna hit the ground running. We're gonna get back to it. I'm just trying to condense so much right because we gotta get to the big stuff. NXT 2.0, because I should label as that. They're doing New Year's Evil right now. Tommaso Ciampa versus not Bronson Steiner, but Braun Breaker is going against each other for the main event. That's going to be commercial free. Braun Breaker is going to win that. We just had the unification match of the North American Championship versus the Cruiserweight Championship of Roddy Strong, Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes won that unified title. Mandy Rose just won or retained her women's championship. Big, meaty men slapping meat. That's what we're really here about, right? Let's just hide away. Forget the whole erotic vibes. What do we like in wrestling? Sure, we entertain and we enjoy the whole technical aspect and the flippy flops and all that stuff. But big, sweaty men slapping meat, as the New Day say on their podcast. New Day, please follow us. I'll follow you guys. There was a pay-per-view. Saturday, day one. It was originally supposed to be Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar going against each other for the Universal Championship. And then it was supposed to be a fatal four with Big E, who's a big, meaty man, defending against Kevin Owens, we love Big Fatty, against Seth frickin' Rollins, we love Seth Rollins, and then Bobby Lashley, who is a titan of meaty men. And then Roman got the Rona. So instead of just pulling Brock Lesnar away from the match, instead they put Brock in that match to make it to a fatal five-way. First off, that was a fantastic match. The pay-per-view itself was meh in between. The opening match between the New Day and the Usos was good. I like RK Bro versus Street Profits. Didn't care for certain other matches in the in-between. Edge and Miz could have been done better. I'm sorry. Crowd was deaf for I wasn't really there for it because of certain things. But that fatal five-way, it was just so good. And guys, we didn't even get the stare-off of Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. This has been a feud that we've wanted for a long time. They are colossal giants. They are gods. They are basically if Zeus and Odin met each other in the freaking field in the multiverse portals. Suck on that, Spider-Man. You were thinking that you were going to get this weird setup. No, Bobby Lashley just sees Brock and he goes and spears Brock. I had a minor happiness because all the blood flooded from my brain to elsewheres. I loved it. Unfortunately, for Big E, who we love. That's right. Just replay that all the time. I could look at that for days. I hope that when I'm dying on my deathbed, it's Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. That is in the last thoughts of my mind. Not my family, not wife or kids or anything like that. Not even the championship belts I bought when I passed the bar exam. It's Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar beating the hell out of each other. And then Brock won. He pinned Big E, the champion, in a fatal five-way match, which hurts the credibility for Big E. But now Brock is your WWE champion. He is back with Paul Heyman. He still might be over Roman, but what do we know after yesterday, boys? At the Royal Rumble, which is one of the big four pay-per-views, right? Probably my second most lit for pay-per-view. Sometimes we'll talk about the last time. I love the Rumble if it has a good Rumble match and then some good championship matches. You have Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar going against each other because Bobby Lashley won the number one contenders match. Boys, what? That is epic men slapping meatiest of meats. And that is not just, cheap, USAA meat. That is, give me some meat stuff because I had this plan in my head and left because I'm so excited right now. That's Wagyu beef. Yeah. That's Wagyu beef. That is the K meat that Malcolm in the Middle's dad was going for. How?
This is too much for a Ruth's Chris. Okay.
Yeah, this is not Ruth Chris. Is not Longhorns. This is the true upstate. This is like we hunted it and we killed it kind of meat. This is the best kind. This is Wagyu. Yeah, this is everything right now because you have the Viking versus like the Black Adonis going on, and I just love it so much. Because I've been a Bobby Lashley guy for a while because I don't want to say wrestling and wrestlers and main championships should be predicated on their looks, but you look at those two men, you look at Bobby Lashley. Why has this man been treated like a joke since he came back, right? He's a former MMA fighter. Brock's a former MMA fighter. One is literally Atlas. The other one looks like a guard for Odin, and I am so about it. The match could be crap. It could be great. I'm glad I'm just getting this, even though it came at the expense of Big E, which is unfortunate. A couple of my friends hated it. I loved it, as did my other friend who loved it, because of what it just kind of gives the people what they want. And even though Vince's mindset is that he wants big, strong boys, on the highlight now, you look at those two men. Why not? Bobby had a great run. Bobby was there for one of my happiest memories of 2021 when he led to The Miz and helped The Miz take that title off of Drew McIntyre. That was just, oh, what a bright day. And even a brighter day when Bobby won the WWE Championship. And even though I understand the reasons to take that belt off and put onto Big E, this is a match that it felt like we weren't going to get. And if we were going to get at Mania. But obviously Roman and Brock is the end game. I can live without that match. I don't need it a fourth time. But the fact that I'm getting Bobby and Brock the first time, Wrestling Santa Claus was there. Vince McMahon did something right. He actually stayed committed to the course too. Now it's concerning of what happens if plans change again because of, the Rona kicking in everybody. And we can only hope that Roman will be okay and everybody else who has been battling the Rona on that roster, because bloody look how quickly things can change, because Roman's out, Drew has a neck stinger, so he's out. Sasha Banks hurt her knee the other day at a live event. What you have could easily be gone, because that's life, is it not? But when my hands and my cup was bare and I said, brother, my cup is empty and I would like some plenty, Vince and Kenny McMahon poured me, not swill, not bottom and barrel, not the wine that you buy in a box, gals and boys. He gave me the 1500 stuff, because I'm getting Bobby and Brock at Royal Rumble. Woo! I'm feeling kind of hyped for that. The same way I felt hyped for my non-sponsor of the year, Cafe Minero. It's all the beef, and that's all I'm going to give you this week on the cage.
Yeah, I like that at the end. Okay. We'll do the, whatever's of the year next episode. We'll do those.
Yep.
Okay. So, because I didn't really have it planned, I just kind of wanted to get the show out for this year, get it started, and we'll do it. Everybody's doing their 2021 retrospectives. We'll do ours. So that we just needed to get some of the stuff that happened over the course of the last month out of the way. And now we did that. And now we can move forward by looking back at the entire year. So, but thanks everybody. We're back. We're going to keep this thing rolling as much as we can. But thank you everybody. 2022 is here. We're going to have fun with it as we always do. We'll try and entertain you as much as possible. Maybe get some guests back on the show. We'll try and ask. We'll try and get out there, try and do some wacky stuff. But thanks everybody. We'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Good night.
Take care.